Hello and welcome to another X-Ray.tech video. I'm Tom Nasser, the Automation Alchemist, and today I'm going to help you get what you want out of automation instead of what you're asking for. If you're looking at automation as a way of creating workflow magic, you're looking at the right place. Automation is a great way to help your organization save time and get better results, but when you're working with an automator or an automation consultant, it's easy to fall into the trap of asking for a specific process rather than focusing on the result you want. Being highly prescriptive about the apps and functions involved might seem like the right approach, but in this video, we're going to explain why you're better off focusing on the end result and leaving the technical decisions to your automation team. Let's get into it. First, let's consider a hypothetical workflow you might want to automate. Let's say you're currently gathering responses from your website's contact form in a Google Sheet and then sending each new contact an email. Then, you keep notes in that same Google Sheet about the contact and how they responded to your outreach. When you go to automate this workflow, your first instinct may be to keep everything the same and simply automate the steps whenever possible. This is totally understandable. You know the current process works, and you just want to use automation to make it faster and more consistent. So, you might go to an automation expert and give them some precise specifications to build this automated workflow. Something like this. Whenever a new contact is added to the Google Sheet, an email should be drafted and sent to the address they provided. When the contact replies to the email, their original record in Google Sheets should be updated with the text and date of their reply. This all seems pretty straightforward on the surface, but there's a big issue with building this automated workflow as specified. Simply put, Google Sheets is the wrong tool for the job. It won't work reliably for dynamically finding and updating information, and it won't scale when you want to build on top of this automation. On a basic level, Sheets can be automated, it can connect to Zapier, Make, and other automation platforms, and it can work fine in certain circumstances. But if you want to regularly update records, something like Airtable is going to be a much more suitable foundation to build on top of. In many cases, or in this case, it might just be better to use a CRM. That's what CRMs are designed for. This is just one specific instance, but it's a good illustration of a larger problem. There are all sorts of automation pitfalls and best practices that you won't be aware of. If you prescribe a specific list of apps and functions that your automation expert should use to build your automation, you'll likely encounter a variety of technical issues and limitations, particularly as you build more automations on top of your first one. If you focus on the result instead of the exact process, you'll likely be much happier with the ultimate outcome. So what does a result-oriented request look like? Well, to keep using our website contact example, you might tell your automation team that you want to create an easily updatable record for each contact and send an email to each new contact. With that kind of a brief, you can avoid unnecessary limitations that would make it more difficult for your automations to scale and function reliably. Your automation team would be able to recommend a CRM tool that is designed for this specific type of workflow, or a tool like Airtable, which you could customize for the purpose. If you're still not convinced, it might be helpful to look at the situation from a different perspective. When something's wrong with your car, you don't tell your mechanic how to fix it, do you? You tell them what you think is wrong with it, and you describe how it should be working. You describe your experience inside the car, not what's happening under the hood. You trust that your mechanic will be able to diagnose the issue and fix it accordingly. When you bring a workflow to an automation expert, you should also trust their expertise of the technical aspects of the automation. Describe the problems you're having with your current workflow and describe what you want to be able to do. But be careful about dictating the technical specs up front, because you might end up spinning your wheels and wondering why. Ultimately, it can be difficult to leave your automation specs open-ended. It might feel like you're giving up critical control of your process, but if you trust your automation specialist as a partner and as a collaborator, you'll be better off letting them make the technical decisions while you focus on the end results of the automation. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more automation tips every week. If you'd like to learn more about no-code and low-code automation, follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, and you can find all of our content on our website at xray.tech. You can check all those links in the description down below, and as always, don't forget, keep the flow.